This is my car, or it was until about 2 weeks ago when I sold it. And now, after about 10 years of driving, I am totally car free. But, why? I live in a car centric North American city. We've got wide highways, sad excuses for bike infrastructure, and the large shopping areas are no place for pedestrians. Not to mention the infamous Strode McLeod Trail, which was pretty much the inspiration for starting this channel. So, why would I get rid of my car? The number one reason is cost. Owning a car has become so normalized that we don't even think of it as an expense. That's always just been something that I have to have. I have to have a car. That's how I get places. If I don't have a car, how will I get places? It's just something we have to own, apparently. The plan was always for me to get my license, get a car, and have quote unquote freedom. The first time I ever heard otherwise was a scout leader saying if he didn't need one, he wouldn't have one. He called his car a money pit. So, how much did my money pit cost me? I kept all my receipts and invoices for repairs, oil changes, gas, windshield. There's over 300 receipts here. So, let's see what that adds up to. My car was a 1999 Chevy Prism, which is basically just a Toyota Corolla. If you take off all of the panels, it says Toyota stamped on all of the metal. I paid $500 for this car, and the original owner took very good care of it. So really, I didn't have to worry about much in the way of repairs. Mostly, I was concerned about things like the tires and the windshield, and then, of course, being an older car, some of the other wear and tear things that just happen because it's old. But the engine always worked great. Even in minus 40 degrees Celsius, my car always started up. It was a great car, but it still cost a lot of money. So how much did it cost for me to maintain it? So this is things like oil changes with the windshield replacement, tires, etc. $11,816.83. That's how much I paid for this maintenance. Now, of course, if you're driving, you gotta be insured. And when I started driving, I was paying $190-ish a month. Because I'm over 25 now, with a good driving record, my insurance has gone down to about $150 a month. Let's just say I've paid about $170 a month in insurance for the 7 years and 8 months of owning this car. That works out to $15,640 paid in insurance over the past 7 years and 8 months. Tickets. Yeah, I got a few speeding tickets and a couple parking tickets, and all totaled together, it costs about $680. Those are more about my own irresponsibility and not about the general cost of owning a car. Registration. That's got to be updated annually. I paid a cool $744 to keep that up. Finally, gas. Now hold on to your butts because this is actually crazy. I kept every gas receipt I ever got. I put it in my center console, and somewhere along the way, I decided to count them up when I was done with the car. That was my plan. Stick them in the center console, pull them out when I'm done, and then I'm going to count them up. So here we are. I'm going to count them up. A couple things to note here as I kind of flip through this spreadsheet is one, many of these receipts are actually in US dollars, but I didn't feel like converting it to Canadian. I had been living in the States for about 3 years during this period of owning a car. And two, Petro-Canada pumps always seem to be out of receipt paper. So there are definitely some receipts missing, but we're not going to worry about those specifics, and we're just going to say that this estimate is a little bit low. And the estimate of how much I spent on gas over the past 8 years of driving my car, $10,837.13 on gas. That's literally just on gas. Now, if you've been playing along at home and you've been counting everything up and adding it together yourself, then you'll know that what I paid for this car, counting only the paper records that I still have in my possession, the total amount is $40,217.96. What? That is literally insane. That is so much money. Like it actually boggles my mind how much money I've spent on this car. So, what am I going to do with my newfound riches? Great question. Well, I have a bicycle. I also have an e-scooter. So, I already have those things. But I have $40,000 to spend on my transportation over the next 8 years. So, well, I'm thinking I'd really love to get a cargo bike. They're fun, they're cool, and I'd love to take my nieces and nephews out on them and give them a love for cycling and being out in nature. But okay, after I spend $10,000 on this cargo bike, I've still got $30,000 left to spend. I guess I'll get another e-bike. I mean, I have a cargo bike already, and that's really great for going out, and especially if I'm carrying things or going out with a friend and want to bring them along without them having to have their own bike. But hey, you know what? An e-bike is a lot easier to lock up. It fits on more locks, and it's also not as expensive, right? So, okay, I'm also going to get an e-bike. So that leaves me with $27,000 left to spend over the next 8 years. Well, now I have 3 bikes and I want to take good care of these bikes. So I'm going to get an annual servicing for each of these bikes. Those cost about $200 to get like a full, nice quality service. Of course, the e-bikes will be a little bit more. So we're going to estimate over the next 8 years, I'm going to spend about $5,000 servicing all 3 of my e-bikes. Okay, $22,000 left to spend. Wow, great question. How am I going to spend this? Well, okay, maybe let's say at the end of those 8 years, at the end of this 8 year period, well, I've got a girlfriend. And, well, we have a really great relationship. I love her, and I want to make sure that we can go as far as we want. So, you know what? I'm going to buy her an e-bike too. Okay, well, okay, that brings us to $19,000. $19,000. Well, okay, I've actually married this girl now, and we're going to adopt 3 kids, okay? We're going to adopt 3 kids, and we'll get another cargo bike for our growing family. So we've got 2 cargo bikes. I've got an e-bike. She's got an e-bike. I also have my regular bike and my e-scooter. We're servicing these things regularly. That leaves us with another $9,000 left in the bank to spend on this transportation. Well, of course, we adopted these kids. Let's say that we adopted these kids and they're actually old enough. We didn't adopt them as babies. They're actually old enough that they can ride their own e-bikes. So we're going to purchase each of them with this $9,000 an e-bike. So they each get a nice $3,000 e-bike to ride around on, go visit their friends, go wherever they want, have a little bit of mobility freedom. We're great parents. And now I have finally spent that $40,000. Okay, so I'm being a little facetious, but also I'm going to spend over $5,000 less a year on transportation. And of course, obviously, there are issues and you need repairs and fixes and maintenance on a bicycle as well. But I don't know if you notice this. I mean, it might just be me, but bicycles are a lot simpler machines. I got a flat tire on my bike the other week, and I walked my bike home because I can just take it with me. I don't have to call a tow truck or anything. I walked by my bike home. I put it away. I took the front or the rear wheel off, and I took it on the bus to the bike shop. I walked in, and 15 minutes later, for $15, it was fixed. It was fixed. That was it. That was it. $15 to fix a flat tire. I walk in and I walk out, and it's done. What have I been doing? I have been spending so much money on a car. Now, obviously, the money is a big reason for me to go car free. But also, I tell people all the time about the benefits of building cities for people rather than for cars. And I think I should practice what I preach. I'm also coming at this from a privileged situation. I live close to Calgary's rapid transit network. My grocery store is a 5-minute walk away. I have family and friends within 15 minutes by bike or bus, and the primary cycling network isn't far from me, and I'm okay riding on the road to get there. And I'm already healthy enough that a 50-minute bike ride to work isn't exhausting. Let's be clear, a car in my situation would be very convenient. I work 3 jobs, I like going out with friends, my parents don't live in the city, the mountains aren't far from me, but I do need to drive to get there, and frankly, I love driving. I love being behind the wheel. I did a road trip from Calgary to Memphis last year. That's not a short drive. And a lot of it is driving through the prairies, which I actually thoroughly enjoy. But I also want to show that it's possible to go car free, even in a car centric North American city. If I have to go to these other places where I have to drive, I can carpool with friends who are also going there, or I can rent a car for a lot cheaper than what I've been paying to keep a car around every single day. And maybe by me going car free, we can start building in ways that make it easier for people to access their necessities with more mobility freedom. Of course, the city isn't going to say, oh, oh golly gee, Alex is car free. Why didn't you say so? Alex is car free, guys. This changes everything. Now we can start adding bike lanes. This is fantastic. Obviously, that's not how this works. But I've taken a car off the road. Well, I sent it somewhere else. It's being used by someone who lives in the countryside and makes great use of a car as a transportation tool. I, however, have other options. If you'd like to keep up to date with what this transition is going to look like, make sure you're subscribed, especially because Canadian winter is a thing and that's coming up, and it sure will be interesting to see how I deal with it. Thanks for watching, and remember that you can be part of the change. You can make a difference in your community, participate in municipal politics. Those are the people who pave your sidewalks. Those are the people who approve what buildings go where. They might not be as exciting as federal politics, but honestly, I think they have a bit more of an impact on your day to day.